The Guardians, John Grisham. First of all, I want to tell you that this author, despite being well known and having many books to his credit, has never attracted me too much. Grisham really likes novels about lawyers and jurists, or at least that's how it was many years ago, and despite the fact that, in my university days, when the author began to hit the mark, I read some of his books and enjoyed them. Let's say I did not become a fan, although, as I tell you, the books I read entertain me. What I want to say is that I have never been aware of their next release or anything like that like I do with other authors. Summary and synopsis of The Guardians by John Grisham. An innocent man was convicted of murder 22 years ago. Your lawyer will not stop until you are free. But those who locked him up already killed once. And they are ready to do it again. In the small town of Seabrook, Florida, an up-and-coming lawyer named Keith Russo was shot to death one night while working late at his office. The culprit left no clues. There were no witnesses, no one had a motive. But the police soon became suspicious of Quincy Miller, a young black man who had been a client of Russo's. Miller was tried and sentenced to life in prison. For 22 years he languished in prison, maintaining his innocence with no one listening to him. In desperation, he writes a letter to the Ministry of the Guardians, a small nonprofit organization led by lawyer and Episcopalian priest Cullen Post. Post travels the country fighting wrongful convictions and defending clients forgotten by the system. However, in the case of Quincy Miller, he encounters unexpected obstacles. Keith Russo's killers are powerful and ruthless people, and they don't want Miller to be exonerated. They killed a lawyer 22 years ago, and would kill another without a second thought. My personal opinion, I love this novel within its genre, and with this I do not mean that it is a work of art and that it will change literature forever, but it is an effective book. The author wants to tell you a good story and entertain you, and he succeeds in spades. I read that with this book the usual John Grisham has returned. I don't know if that's true because, as I told you, I haven't read him for years, but I do agree that this novel is very good. First of all, I told you above that it reads alone. What I mean is that you get fully into the story almost in the first lines. It is written in the first person. The narration is carried out by Post, a member of the Guardians, a lawyer and priest whose mission is to get innocent people out of American prisons. The language is direct and concise but well written. The reflections of the character, his opinions about the people he deals with, as well as the events and dialogues are narrated in such a way that you read it endlessly. The story is very well developed and the ending is consistent with everything that has been read. There is emotion, there is mystery, and you get good feelings. It is a positive book despite the fact that behind it there is a great criticism of the American penal system. In fact, it is a devastating criticism. It gave me goosebumps. Obviously, I have no idea if what is being said occurs or not in the American legal system, although the author says that he was inspired by 2 true cases. There are bad guys, but there are also very good people, so it is also a hopeful book. Another thing I would like to highlight is that I like the characters. It seems to me that I could continue several of the characters in other novels because there are many stories to tell and I would like it to be so. I highlight Post and Frankie. They are characters with a lot of potential. Apart from all this, I like the approach that he has given to the story. The first-person narration has given him a lot of play, and he has also used a multitude of characters who, regardless of their importance, are well portrayed. The same I say in relation to the small stories that are happening and that make the story more interesting and enjoyable. I like that in addition to the main plot, some things are happening that, despite not being useful for solving the case, provide interesting information about what they tell you about the legal system, the personality of the main characters, etc. All of this contributes without subtracting one iota, makes the story extremely interesting as well as entertaining, and it is concluded that the author knows how to handle information both to build a solid story and to keep you hooked on reading. I recommend it.